Well, guys, you just can't make this stuff up. I mean, the irony is so thick you can cut it with a knife. Seems like Letitia James, which is Trump's number one nemesis, well, she's been caught in her own little web. She's been caught, allegedly, doing the exact same thing she accused Donald Trump of doing, mortgage fraud. The difference, however, is I think everybody knows she was just making up that crap with against Donald Trump, where it appears that this stuff against her is a real thing. So let's see what these guys have to say and go from there.
Welcome back. Last week we spoke to the man who dug up all the dirt on Tish James and just the incredible hypocrisy of the New York Attorney General that went after Trump for nothing and has all this filth on her. Forensic accountant, former felon turned FBI good guy Sam Mantar, an interview that has gone globally viral. The president shared it on his social media, and tonight Sam Mantar is back on set with us. Updates on this bombshell investigation. Sam, good to have you back on. Major update. I mean, obviously the story is huge because people, they have some kind of way of feeling about this woman, especially after what she tried to do to the now president of the United States. But let's talk about the Brooklyn residence. She bought this about 25 years ago. You exposed last week the certificate of occupancy shows it's a 5-unit property. She posed it as a 4 in a manner to get probably better interest rates, to get a better deal.
Let me stop it here a second because I've heard a lot of people refer to it as she declared it was a 4-bedroom versus a 5-bedroom, which would have nothing to do with it. The big difference in the mortgage industry, the finance industry, is the number of doors a project has. Now, the difference is when you say door, it's the front door. Like the average homeowner has a single family dwelling. That's considered 1 door. Then if someone goes out and buys a duplex, that's considered 2 doors. They get a triplex, that's 3 doors, and then a quadruplex is 4 doors. Now that's where the magic line comes in, because the next step is 5 doors or more. Like obviously a 100-unit apartment complex would be more than 5 doors. And when you go to get a loan from the bank, the difference in 4 doors or less or 5 doors or more is a big thing. Anything with 4 doors or less is considered a residential loan. Anything of 5 doors or more is considered commercial. So it doesn't matter what you're using it for. Let's say that you go out and you buy a duplex. It's got 2 doors. Okay, front doors. It's called a 2-door project or whatever. Then the bank considers that a residential mortgage. They award you that mortgage based on usually your credit scores, your credit history, more about you than the property. However, when you go to 5 doors or more, a lot of times they don't really even consider your credit score or much about you. They're considering everything about the project. Okay, if you have 5 doors or more, they're going to see the value of the property, but also what they want to see is they want to see the leases. They want to see 5 signed leases. Because to the financial institution, the bank or whoever, the value of those leases are as valuable as the property, okay? In fact, you can have a single family dwelling or duplex, triplex, or quadruplex, and you can, as long as you're paying all the monthly payments, you can have nobody in any of the units. They could be totally empty. The bank doesn't care as long as you're making those monthly payments. But when it comes to over 5 doors, the bank wants to make sure you have people in those units, okay? In fact, if you don't have people in those units, now they'll give you a certain amount of unoccupancy, like maybe 5%. But every year they want to make sure that you have those units filled because to the bank, that's a value to them, okay? In fact, you can make all the payments, just 5 doors or more, you can make all your payments on time. But if you don't have people in those units, they can call the loan. They can just send you a letter and say, all right, pay it off right away. You got 90 days to pay it off or you're gone. And there's nothing you can do about it. Occupancy is so important to them. What they really want is a signed lease. So anyways, everybody's been trying to make this, well, what's the big deal between 4 doors or 5 doors or whatever? That's the difference, okay? So when you lie on your mortgage application, Letitia James supposedly had a 5-door project, and she called it a 4-door project. She did that supposedly to get residential lease mortgage terms, which give you a lot better terms, lower interest rates. Another big thing is usually residential loans are for 15 years or 30 years, where commercial loans are normally 5, 6, or 7 years, and then you got to refinance. So you better keep everything up to date, because come 5, 6 years, boom, if you haven't been doing the right thing, they just chuck you out and say sell it or whatever, you know. But anyway, so there's big difference. Let's see what else they got to say here.
For herself, which of course is fraud. Since then, we've had 2 formal complaints filed against the property, claiming that the occupancy certificate doesn't match what it actually is. And the New York City Department of Building has now verified that. Is that
yes.
right?
New York
tell
City
us about that.
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
The New York City Department of Buildings has verified that it is 5 units, the same 5 units that it's always said it was. Now, on top of that, the electric meters to the building, there are 6, 1 for common areas, one for each apartment, still 5, another verification.
Yeah.
And also,
You know, they could have 100 bedrooms and still be a one-door, single-family dwelling. Okay, they don't count the side doors or back doors. You know, so they're going down this road. Some other things just to keep in mind here. When it comes to the difference between residential and commercial, there's a lot of other things that come to play. Zoning. A lot of places you can't have, residential buildings, or you can't have commercial buildings. So might be a zoning issue. Financing, we already talked about. Tax implications. Property tax. Is she paying commercial property tax or residential property tax? That could be a big difference. That's more of maybe a county issue or a state issue. Things like depreciation. You depreciate commercial property totally different than residential property. You know, does the Disability Act come into play? Commercial property, you have to have ramps. You know, you have to, in restrooms, you have to have the handles and all. You have to have certain things for people with disability. You don't have to do that with residential property. So, you know, it can vary by states and counties and all, but that's the gist of it, okay?
I mean, we reached out to the DOJ over the status of this criminal referral, because this has been referred to the DOJ by another agency, a criminal referral on the New York Attorney General for this fraud. They said they're not going to respond on a current criminal referral. They're not going to give us an update on that. But mortgage fraud, pretty serious crime. That's up to 30 years in prison, up to $1 million in fines. Obviously, I don't think she's going to go away for any amount of time, anywhere close to that. But we're dealing with crimes that could lock her up.
yes, absolutely.
You know, also something you have to look at, she is the Attorney General of the state of New York. When you're I guess you'd call her more of a legal person, a politician, but when you're at that, well, she's a politician too because she got elected. But when you're at that level, you know, your scrutiny towards you is at a much higher level. I mean, people in political office, the scrutiny is much higher. I mean, if you're a homeless drunk, nobody gives a crap. If you're the Attorney General of New York, you got to obey the law.
And the statute of limitations hasn't told on most of her crimes, so she's in deep trouble.
It's something else. Looking at this thing, what you see as far as what you dug up, I mean, if all of that, if they push all that onto her, what do you think happens to Tish James? I mean, is she going to stay in this position? She's going to survive this?
I think that Hochul will eventually push her out and appoint a new Attorney General.
Push her
in
out.
The state of New York, yes.
Probably dump the charges, but push her out of the job. Is that what you expect to happen?
No, I expect Hochul to push her
I think that's called when rats start fleeing the sinking ship.
out of the job,
Yeah.
because Hochul's got to distance herself from her. See, here's the problem. The problem with Tish James is it's a 40-year pattern. It's not a one-off. It's not a gotcha where, oh, you made one mistake or whatever. It's inexcusable what she did.
Right, because, let's go over it
every
real
single
quick.
mortgage document
Yeah.
is a lie.
Yeah, and
whether it's on the
multiple
Brooklyn
properties.
property or her 2 Virginia properties.
Yeah. I mean, she
Every
has
single
multiple, she lied on all.
one better yet, every single financial report she has filed with the state of New York as she was supposed to under the law since 2019 has been false.
Now, they might cover this, but she actually financed a home in Virginia and said that was her legal residence. Well, that means when you get financing for a home, especially through the government, Fannie Mae or whatever it was, and you sign documents that you're actually living in that home, you have to live in that home. You better live in that home. But also another question I was thinking about, what about homeowner's exemption, homestead exemption? Did she file homestead exemption in Virginia? That's a big tax advantage for you. So I don't know if she actually owns a single-family home in New York. I don't think she does. She just has the apartments. But she has a home in Virginia. So if she filed homestead exemption there, that's another log on the fire.
Has omitted key information.
I mean, I know you have a colorful past, and can you believe that this woman had the audacity to do what she did to Donald Trump, knowing what she had done in her past? I mean, that's like sociopathic.
When you're doing crime, you got to keep a low profile on certain things. That's the lesson that I learned back in the day. I don't know why she thought she'd get away with this forever. The better question is why wasn't it caught 10 years ago, 15 years ago, etc.?
Yeah.
Why is it coming out today?
Well, I think it's coming out today because she went to the ends of the earth to try and manufacture a crime out of something that every developer in New York does. I only started
following her by accident.
Yeah.
I was doing other New York City politicians, and she was just on the list.
She was, and that's how it happened.
That's how it happened.
It didn't have anything to do with what she threw at Trump?
No, I had that.
You just like digging into these things.
No offense, I'm a Democrat, okay?
Yeah.
The point being is that for months I've been writing about other subjects and other politicians.
Yeah.
She was just another person on the list. I didn't target her for anything. She was just part of a long process of forensic accounting, examining the finances of New York.
That's amazing. You did a great job. It's amazing what you can dig up, sir, and we appreciate you coming on.
God bless, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you. All right.
My response is, it's baseless. Listen.
Anytime you hear a legal person say the word baseless, what baseless really means is they're not saying I didn't do it. If you know, she never says I didn't do it. She just says it's baseless. And in legalese, what that means is there's not enough evidence to convict her. That's what she thinks it is. That's why she keeps saying baseless. Just a legalese word. So just something to keep in mind.
Donald Trump is on a revenge tour, and he finally got up to the J.
Yeah, she never says I didn't do it. It's always either baseless or Trump's the devil.
And so it's my time. And so the allegations are baseless. I'm not going to litigate them in the media. We will respond at the appropriate time in the appropriate fashion.
Please sue him for us.
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate.
You probably know this, but Letitia James, when she was running for office, this is before she was Attorney General in New York. She was running on the fact that she was going to get Donald Trump. Well, she didn't have any evidence, didn't do anything, didn't have trial evidence, accusations, or anything. She just ran on, I'm going to get Donald Trump, and proceeded to, I think what most people think, just made up a bunch of crap to go after him.
President. We need to focus on Donald Trump. We need to follow his money. What is fueling my soul right now is Trump.
This illegitimate president. I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, and then going home.
It's important that everyone understand that the days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
I think she's in hot water. We'll see where it goes from here, okay? So there you go, guys. If you agree with me, put it in the comments. If you disagree with me, put it in the comments. And if you could like and or subscribe, I sure would appreciate it. See ya.